Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 199. Last one in the 100s.
What's that close to?
Close to 200.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Very exciting, guys. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We hope that you've been with us for the other 198, but maybe this is your first time listening. And if that is the case, we actually have 5 main formats of our show. First, we have 1442 episodes where we cover the mental side of our brand. We go over things like mentality and mindset, pass on tips and advice to you guys. We also have physical vitality episodes where we cover the physical side of our brand. You have 2 certified personal trainers here, so in those ones, we cover everything that we offer through our Untapped Training app, which is powered by First Form, and we cover everything to do with health and fitness, basically. Articles, supplements, the gym, diet, things of that nature.
Our bread and butter, so to speak.
That's right.
We also cover breaking news episodes, which is our current event-based format. We cover solutions to those current events going on in the world. Now, we also touch on our Knights Table format, which is our masculinity-based format. We talk about how we're not perfect men. We're striving to be that way. Jesus Christ is the only perfect man to ever walk this earth. We also have guest format, which is pretty self-explanatory. Anybody who brings you value of some sort. We learn a lot from those episodes. You, in turn, learn a lot from those episodes as well. Our final thing to introduce before the main content of the episode and a fact of the day is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
Sorb.
What's up, dude? Is
Don, what's up?
that a brown shirt?
It is.
Cool.
You like it?
What's the fact of the day?
Crazy call out of the brown shirt. But anyways, continue on the fact of the day.
Speaking of brown,
Oh, no. Do we have back-to-back poop-related facts of the day?
the average person over the course of their lifetime will spend approximately 1 year on the toilet.
Oh, wow. I would have expected to be more.
For you, yeah. At 5:30 in the morning, blinding Mitch and Steve. 5:30 in the morning, blinding them.
That was from the kitchen. That was not from the bathroom. Okay.
We had an open bathroom on the trip. It's like a fraternity bathroom where there's like 3 toilets lined
That's
up,
crazy.
all next to each other.
1 year. I honestly would have expected to be more, though.
I think they're probably assuming healthy poops, where it's not like 25 minutes and you're getting hernias and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying me. I'm like, bro, I don't spend 25 minutes every time. Sometimes you get distracted. You know what I
man.
mean? Like,
Your poor cheeks.
no.
Man.
Oh, gosh, crazy start to the episode here. This is insane. Okay. Moving right along here. So, last week on 198, guys, we introduced a mini series that we're doing here leading up to episode 200, where we are talking about summer prep training, part 1. Today is part 2. Last week, we kind of just introduced the topic, and then we also talked about the question whether your training should change leading up to summer, so therefore your summer prep. We answered that in a few different ways, so if you didn't hear those answers, go back to last week's episode, listen to 198, and then continue on and listen to 199 here. Today, we're going to cover a few other quick points still related to the summer prep training. Again, this is part 2 of the mini series. Man, I just looked right into one of our lights. That was weird.
You might not be seeing the rest of the episode after that.
Yeah, I don't even know where I'm looking now. Anyway. Brutal thing. We got bright lights in here, folks. So this one actually this first point kind of continues off what we talked about last week. And it is, does training for aesthetics make sense? Okay. And then we're going to kind of get into a sub point off of this, but does training for aesthetics only make sense for leading up to summer and therefore being that way during the summer months? I think it goes back into kind of what we said in part 1, where it depends on what your goals are. If you are someone in the bulking phase of your training for aesthetics, well, okay, first, let's back up a little bit here, actually. Let's set what that means, training for aesthetics. What do we think of when we think of training for aesthetics? We think of like a bodybuilder, right?
Think of like a stone sculpture from ancient Greek or
Pretty
something
much.
like that. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So you're cut, you're vascular, you got good looking abs, you can see every muscle in your body basically, maybe not quite like stage ready as far as a bodybuilder.
Wide lats, big delts, big traps.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. You got the V taper and all that type of stuff.
The upside down
Dorito. Quads are looking good. Yeah, the upside down Dorito. So that's kind of what training for aesthetics means. the aesthetic of your body.
Mhm.
Okay. If you're on the bulking side of it, probably not. Probably not. Probably wouldn't make much sense because to train for aesthetics, you kind of have to cut down
Mhm.
in a way. You kind of have to shred fat. Not kind of, you do. You have to shred fat.
Unless you're like the client we talked about last week where you're,
For sure.
you need to be in a gain phase.
Yeah, right.
And you're right. Yeah.
Right.
And it will
Absolutely.
end up in you looking aesthetic because you're adding more lean mass at that point in time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, we kind of alluded to the fact that someone like that in that case, which is more normal than what people think. It's probably close to as normal as fat people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like actual obese individuals. But you're going to get to that aesthetic point if you're on the skinnier side and the underweight side, because like we said last week, you're filling out for the first time possibly ever. You're putting real legitimate muscle on your bones,
Mhm.
and you're going to look good. You're going to look jacked, So maybe continue down that path a little bit further on the bulking side of it.
Because there's definitely the bulking side, and I'll continue on that. But there's also this is like a lean mass and an athlete conversation at the same time too. Because like we talked about that last week, how there's kind of two different groups here. People training for sports or just staying athletic in general, or they're training just to add a bunch of lean body mass on. Lean body mass basically means anything that's fat-free mass, essentially, to a degree. Mainly muscle tissue we're talking here.
Sure.
Let's make that clear.
Sure.
In a bulking phase or a gain phase, there was a good distinction made, in my opinion, because a lot of people hear bulking and they hear dirty bulk.
Sure, they just put on weight.
Gain phase is probably a better way to talk about it, because bulking a lot of times has a connotation that you're adding a ton of body fat.
True.
Realistically, you shouldn't be adding much body fat at all.
Yeah.
Because if you want to stay anabolic, you want to be at a lower body fat percentage anyways. So you could argue on the bulking or the gain phase, you could argue that you're going to stay more aesthetic, hypothetically, because you are adding muscle tissue as well. It's what we talked about. We talked about the delts, the traps, all that stuff, large back muscles, very defined back muscles and whatnot. That people notice that. People notice that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff when you start filling out shirts as well. When you start looking at, you get in a tank and you start filling that out a little bit, your confidence goes up, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I would definitely say, like, obviously, are you obsessing about aesthetics in a gain phase? Not necessarily, but also, and I want to make that clear, obsessing, that can become a little bit neurotic and like go towards like the looks maxing side of things.
For
You know
sure.
what I mean? To where it turns like really gay to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to avoid that, but adding lean tissue and the building of the confidence, that's 100% a positive, and it will make you more aesthetic. Will it maybe, if you're on the underweight side, get rid of as much of visible abs as you had? Possibly, depending on what point you're at in the gain phase at that point in time, possibly. But if you can still have like solid defined abs, like even if it's like you can see 4 of them or whatever out instead of 6 or whatever, but your arms are larger, your delts are larger, all that stuff that comes along with that, that's more aesthetic.
Yeah.
And that looks good, and you feel confident with your shirt on then
For
too,
sure. Well, because you're going to look fuller. To whereas when you don't have that muscle to back you up, you look skinny and you don't look very good. That's primarily the reason people end up wanting to go into a gain phase that you're talking about. It's like, yeah, I can see my abs. Yeah, I've got a ton of veins popping in my arms. Maybe you got the shoulder veins and all that type of stuff. And like, listen, that stuff is cool. Believe me, like vascularity is a very fun thing to have. But when you're underweight, you get to a point where it's just like, I look malnourished. You know what I mean?
100%.
And like,
Yeah.
And it's funny, but like,
and it might be like your metabolic markers, for example, like your health markers aren't bad at that point in time. But again, if we're talking about confidence during the summer and we're thinking shirt off, that type of stuff, all that, obviously you're going to want to look full and muscular as well.
Well, and that's why things like BMI can be very arbitrary at times, because you and I, our BMIs would probably say we're overweight. And it's like,
definitely mine right now. Yeah,
for sure. But it doesn't take into the fact that you're 6'4" and you have a shit ton of muscle on you. It doesn't take into the fact that I'm 6'2", just a little bit shorter than you, and like have a shit ton of muscle on me. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you're overweight. And it's like, okay, yeah, there could be some pounds to lose, but you got to take into account the full picture here.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And again, it depends what you're chasing. Like, are you chasing the absolute peak of what your body can do? That's a pretty good thing to chase.
It is.
I mean, now granted, again, there's also been the points made, and this is a very fair point to make as well, where if you're adding weight in general, like me pushing to the 268, 270 range I was at, that adds a lot more stress onto my body, objectively. Even if there's more muscle mass and whatnot, objectively, it does add more stress onto my body.
Yeah.
Is it more logical for me to be at 230, 240? Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Like health marker wise, 100%. I was more curious about what I could do strength wise. I was very curious about that. And that was a thing I was chasing during that. You know what I mean? So you're like, depending on what you're thinking, like whether it's the bodybuilding aesthetics, hypertrophy aspect, when you're chasing that, you want to see what your body can do there, or you're chasing the strength aspect. That's a really cool thing to chase as well.
Absolutely.
Even if, when you're in your 20s, it puts a little bit of strain on your body. That's the beauty about a fat loss phase.
Yeah.
It's the beauty about cutting down at that point in time, adding some more steps in, we talked about last week.
Well, and when you were going for your strength, trying to find out what you could do, you finally got up to a plate on bench.
Okay.
You're finally up to Mitch's level.
No,
there. Yeah.
I'll remember that. I was half of my body weight, 0.5x of my body weight on bench.
It's crazy.
I didn't even hit over 1x of my body weight. That's crazy.
So now going over to the cutting side real quick here, because we've kind of already covered it. But if you're on the fat loss side, you're on the cutting side, it's pretty obvious, or it's pretty normal that if you are going into a phase like that, you are chasing the aesthetics, and nothing wrong with that, as we just laid out, whether you want to see what you can create physique wise, aesthetics wise, or you want to find out what you can do strength wise or something else in between. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's a goal you have, and we want you to reach that goal and see what you are capable of, but you kind of have to be chasing aesthetics on that side of it, because you're certainly not going to be testing your strength, because it's a natural part of the cutting process that you're going to lose some strength, because you will likely lose some muscle mass. Now, if you do a cut correctly, you actually can maintain muscle, and you could actually even put on some muscle.
You should at minimum limit it to a high degree,
right?
If you're doing a more aggressive fat loss phase.
Absolutely, because you don't want to just cut weight to cut weight, because then you're cutting all the weight. You might be losing some fat, but you're also going to be losing some muscle. And if you just strictly focus on lowering the scale, you may actually up your body fat. I've had that happen to me before. It's like, what the hell? Like, I'm down 10 pounds, but the body fat went up 2%.
What changed in the strength training? What changed in the protein intake?
Exactly.
What changed in the carb intake? That type of stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
That's when you got to start asking those questions, especially
and
and going pretty in depth on it.
And as soon as you notice those types of things, like, you have to make adjustments right then and there. Otherwise, you're going to keep going down this hole that is going to be harder and harder and harder to get out of.
No doubt. Yeah.
So focusing now on, you've mentioned it a couple times, but the shoulders and the back, when you're talking about aesthetics, summer prep training, what really looks good. Let's dive into that a little bit more.
T-bar row.
T-bar row. Yes. Specific.
That's all we're going to talk
about. So we're going to kind of go over a few specific movements and exercises to get your back and your shoulders looking real good, full, healthy, strong, cut even potentially, if you want to see striations, if you want to get the shoulder veins to pop more, those types of things. If you want to get the little Christmas tree at the bottom of your middle of your back, those types of things. T-bar row is a great one. It's a great place to start. T-bar rows, man. One of my favorite movements.
I just had to throw that out there because I was like, T-bar row.
Dude, but there's truth to that. You know what I mean? Like, you want to talk about a meaty freaking movement. I mean, not only can you load it up a ton, but you want to talk about a great muscle contraction right there from a T-bar row. I mean, it's fantastic.
With that chest support, it's extremely stable too.
It is.
Which again is going to encourage more of that contractile tissue, what we're talking about. And it's going to encourage that muscle gain that we're talking about as well.
And it kind of takes the error out of things like single arm dumbbell rows.
Or barbell row.
Because on those, you're likely using momentum quite a bit, which is not always a bad thing. Not always a bad thing. But then you're also like on barbell rows, for example, your core has to be engaged. Your back has to be not perfectly straight or anything like that, but it's got to be strong and engaged. With something like a T-bar row, with that chest support, like you just mentioned, you are completely isolating the lats, the rear delts, even rhomboids, yes,
lower,
even your
middle
rectors
and
a little
upper
bit,
trapezius,
spine, right. So it's a
depending on the
fantastic
grips your T-bar row has too. By
That's
the
a good
way.
point.
Yeah, there is some
Good
that
point.
are wide or close, or
Yeah.
or some of them might just have one grip too.
Some are adjustable too, which those ones are great.
Yeah, there's a couple I've seen. I don't believe there's any gyms in the area around us that have this, but it literally is like a Smith machine designed T-bar row. It's
Interesting.
disgusting. So if you guys have access to that anywhere, highly recommend that because
That's
I just
sweet.
know that's a really great movement. I haven't gotten access to anything like that, but it literally is on a path right
Like
here.
on a rail.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's on a rail. It's sick.
Interesting.
I got to show you some videos of it actually.
Yeah.
That one's awesome. But yeah, T-bar row, like I threw that out there obviously just because got excited about
Had to
it.
say it.
I had to say it, of course. But and Wurtz is right. Like he made the point, guys, where obviously barbell row can still put on size.
For sure.
No doubt. Single arm dumbbell
Another
rows
super meaty movement.
they can put on size to the back, no doubt. Are we talking about efficiency? Because maybe you're even going to a seated row machine with a chest support as well. That's going to have a different angle to it as well.
Yeah.
There, if we're talking about like you guys are training with us, and we have 2 to 3 months to put on size on that back, we're probably looking at that seated row machine and that T-bar row as a big portion of your back training, a massive portion of your back training there. So we want to make a point of that. We're not saying that barbell row is bad or single arm rows, dumbbell rows are bad, or like kettlebell rows, like gorilla rows are bad, that type of stuff. We're not saying that at all.
No.
It's just depending on exercise selection here
Yeah.
and whatnot. Because when you have a very low stability requirement on a movement, what happens is you can focus a lot more of that contractile tissue, which guess what happens? You put on more muscle mass when you do that. So that's at least like 2 movements I think of when it comes to back related stuff. Shoulders, let's think delts, traps, that type of stuff. When you see a guy that his traps are like touching his ears or something like that,
right.
basically, you know what I mean? Like
He's got 2 mountains on his shoulders.
Basically his neck's encased in this full blown like cylinder of muscle,
Right.
essentially. Yeah. Which is badass, by the way. It's awesome when you see that
yeah.
because it's like, man, that's a strong dude right
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? Because he can pick up a ton of weight, he can carry a ton of weight, all that stuff. You're going to think, if we're thinking traps, we're thinking carries of some sort.
Absolutely.
If you're thinking like trap bar farmer carries, if you're thinking yoke carries, that type of stuff as well, if you have access to a yoke, which is, again, more of a rare piece of equipment sometimes as well.
I would say I've been seeing those more often, though. You're talking a yoke bar, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have started to see those more often, even in gyms that you wouldn't expect to have them.
Sure.
Which is a good thing because that's also a great, yoke bars are great for like introductions to squats and things like that. If you have a real beginner.
Yeah. But if I'm at like Iron High, for example, I'm doing things like trap bar farmer carries and I'm doing heavy deadlifts.
Yeah.
For that type of stuff. If we're talking about putting aesthetics and meat on those traps as
Yeah.
well when it comes to that, because you're just going to get so much benefit because you're able to load those two up so much and there's so much tension on that area when it comes to a carry or heavy deadlift. You're just going to put size there.
Yeah.
Delts, I feel like this should be pretty straightforward for a lot of people. You could think cable shoulder raises. You're thinking cable rear delt pulls as well, like face pulls and whatnot, because you need to put on size on that rear delt.
I love
Too many guys neglect the back of their shoulder.
I was actually literally about to say that almost word for word, but I like the cross cable rear delt flies.
Money.
A reverse pec deck is good. It's just, for me anyway, I don't always love the fixed path, because there's not a lot of flexibility in that. Now, there's good and bad to a fixed path, of course. And we could get into that into a later physical vitality episode, actually. Machines versus free weights type of thing.
Like an open closed chain type thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I really love cross cable rear delt flies. So you're obviously grabbing one side, you're grabbing the other, and then you're crossing back. For those of you on video, you kind of see what I'm doing here. I just think the squeeze that you can get in the rear delts is better than the reverse pec deck. Now, I still use the reverse pec deck when I need to. And sometimes it's just good to mix up the exercise selection, from program to program type of thing. What I always tell people when you're training rear delts, like picture yourself squeezing a pencil in between your shoulder blades at the top there. Like that's how I always get people to do it, or I'll put my hand there and immediately it clicks for them.
Yeah,
They're
the fancy
"Oh."
terminology is that scapular retraction back there.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what you want because you're
Yes.
basically taking it and crunching that pencil together is the idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the shoulder blades, with the wings, so to speak.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know how to get that mind-muscle connection to that area of their body. So when you either put your hand physically on them, like, hey, squeeze my hand, then it clicks. Or you say, hey, picture a pencil back there, it clicks. Gives a real world example of how to find those muscles with your mind while you're doing the movement.
100%.
Okay, final thing here. Don't skip legs.
For the love of God, don't skip legs.
I'm looking at you. on
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at you right now.
Yeah.
Stop skipping
On
legs.
all of our angles,
Yeah,
we're looking
all
at you
through
right
here.
now.
Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
skip back.
Yeah,
all
Mitch,
between
look at
them
the
here.
camera.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop skipping legs, damn it. Okay.
Oh my god.
Legs are important, arguably probably the most important because
Mm-hmm.
it's your foundation. Okay. Dudes, grow an ass.
Yeah.
Girls, stop hitting legs 3 times a week. Okay. Okay. It's not
Quality is better than quantity.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. It's like the person who does abs 7 days a week. It's like, listen, I love that you're training your core. That's fantastic because a lot of people don't. But stop doing it every day. Okay, you're not doing anything. All right. It's like if you try to do bicep curls every day, like, bro, you're not growing your
It's
biceps.
like 20 crunches every single day.
Yeah, right.
You don't even progress it at all.
Right.
It's just 20 crunches every
Right.
single day.
Right.
Yeah.
But main point, do not skip legs for summer.
Mhm.
Okay. Grow your quads. Get your hammies strong. Okay. There you
Yeah.
go. Point done.
Huge cheeks. Yeah. You got to have them. 100%. Yeah.
Also, don't neglect calves, by the way.
True.
Always a funny point,
Mhm.
but most people just like, I don't need to.
Mhm.
My genetics are great for my calves. Okay, buddy. Okay. The reason I have big calves is because I was fat. Guess what? I still train.
So in turn, when you were fat, you loaded your calves. You were training your calves.
It was a permanent loading phase
Yeah.
for the calves. Yes. Yes. Trying to hold all that up.
It's an ongoing tension phase for the calves.
Time under tension. 24 hours a day.
Oh my gosh, dude! But it's true though, because like in calves, also calf training is going to help with your Achilles health and ankle health and stuff like that
Yep.
too. So like lower leg health is great there as well, along with that. But you're right. If we're talking again, quads, hack squat, probably we're going to think is the number one because hack squat is just
Love hack squat.
beauty.
Yeah.
Hack squat's sick. Iron Hive has one. Coalition where you go has
Yep.
one. Hamstrings. If you have a belt squat of some sort, you can get a hold of there. That's a really great stable way to load those hamstrings heavy.
Yeah.
If not, barbell RDLs.
Yep.
Also great option.
Yep.
Especially if you really work on your hinge form there, you can really target that. And that also gets your cheeks too.
100%.
Hypothetically,
And your back. Lower back too.
and your low back, of course,
Yeah.
health there as well. I also recommend, because I don't have to explain this to the women listening to this podcast, men do hip thrust.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Guaranteed to grow cheeks.
Yes.
100%.
Also just healthy for you.
Yes.
Like, good for
100%. A strong ass, a developed ass is actually great. Like,
Yes,
It's
it is.
phenomenal for your health.
It's also
Yes.
been an indicator of longer living.
Mhm.
Like there have been actual studies for that. So if you want to live longer, grow your ass.
As hilarious as it sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I a dude caring about how my cheeks look? It's like, like you want to live long?
Yeah, right, right.
You want to be explosive? have a huge butt. Yeah. You'll be set, bro. I promise. But yeah, dude, I'm straight up. If you're listening to this podcast and you skip legs,
We have questions.
we question your sexuality
That's right.
primarily, for sure. Primarily, that's the number one. And 2, we question your ability to have a good work ethic as
Yeah.
well. Because legs are always going to be the hardest day. In my opinion, they're also the most fun. But
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
So freaking train hard and
Absolutely.
do legs.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, guys. That concludes our mini series leading up to episode 200 here. We got something really cool planned for next week for episode 200.
We think you guys are going to like it.
Hopefully.
We
anyway.
have a feeling. You're
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
like
if
it.
you don't, then we also question your sexuality. Then if you don't enjoy 200, for real though, we do have something very exciting planned, something we have never done before for episode 200. Huge milestone for us, so we are very, very excited to bring that to you guys. But this concludes our mini series leading up to that, part 1 and part 2, summer prep training. Now, we know we went through some quick points here, and there's obviously more in-depth answers to some of these points we've brought up. So if you want more in-depth knowledge or information or answers or whatever, like let us know. We would be more than happy to help you. With that being said, if you have any interest in our Untapped training, again, we're powered by the First Form Performance platform. Reach out to us. We are more than willing, more than able to help you get the results that you want to get. We don't have any announcements yet. We are still finalizing our next men's event. Graphic will be out sometime here soon while we figure out a date.
Again, looking after episode 200 is
For
out.
sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
looking after
Yep.
that point.
Yep.
So May 4th will be 200. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. May
So
the
again,
4th be
looking
with
after May the 4th be with you. But looking after that point
For
again
sure.
for back on the horse
Absolutely.
for events.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. Guys, sign up for our email newsletter. You can go to our Instagram bio, click on our beacons link. I believe it's the second one down for the email. Just put your email in there. It'll send you a confirmation, confirm it, and then you're in. That's all you got to do. Follow us on all the socials, all that good stuff. For your Q&A questions, submit those through email, comments in our DMs, or on our posts, or you can DM them to us. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Nothing?
Not that I can think off the top of my head. Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. That is episode 199. Last one of the 100s. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.